So my family's been in real estate for 5 generations in Los Angeles since the late 1800s. I have a background as an attorney. I went to Berkeley for undergrad and law school, and then was an attorney in Los Angeles for many years. Started the Oppenheim Group real estate brokerage. I have 100 agents now, 3 different offices, San Diego, Newport Beach, and Los Angeles, and Cabo, so 4 different offices. Done about $4 to $5 billion in transaction volume, probably 500 or 600 sales. And I'm, consider myself someone who has critical thinking skills and common sense. So I like to apply that to what I talk about.
And what do you say to people who say you have a bias pro real estate because of what you do and your income is tied to real estate doing well or high transaction volume?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I obviously want there to be high transaction volume. I'm pro economic growth. I mean, who isn't? So I want real estate to succeed. I don't know who doesn't. But I'm also not a fluff guy. Anyone who's ever listened to me talk, you guys certainly probably know. I just tell it like it is. I just like to be honest and direct. So when real estate's not going well, I wouldn't even buy. I mean, perfect example. I'm not even sure I would buy a luxury property in Los Angeles right now. And that's against my financial interest to say that. But yeah, until Los Angeles cleans up its policies, fixes its homeless problem, fixes its crime problem, fixes its taxation problem, until I start seeing some positive signs, I wouldn't be investing in Los Angeles.
Why is the homeless problem getting so bad specifically for Los Angeles?
So the homeless problem has gotten a little bit better the last couple of years. I mean, it probably was at its worst in 2022, 2023. It's gotten a little bit better, not because of it. I don't think because of any policies, because I think our policies are terrible. But just because it got so bad, just like crime and homelessness got so bad after post-COVID, that of course it's going to, revert. What is it? Regress to the mean, revert to the mean. And it has, but it's still significantly worse than it was in 2018, 2019. We're about 40% more homeless now. We spent $24 billion trying to fix the problem over the last, 8 years. And the problem's gotten about 40 to 50% worse.
So how much value in homes have you sold in the city of Los Angeles?
$3 billion, maybe?
$3 billion.
$5 billion total and maybe $3 billion in LA.
And how long have you lived in LA?
20 years.
Do you think LA is still a good place to live?
LA is still my favorite city in the world. I mean, and I've been to a lot of different cities. I think hands down, LA is the best city, mostly because of the weather. The frustration I have with LA is that it has so much more potential. LA was a better city 5 years ago, significantly better city. Nightlife was exceptional. Restaurants were exceptional. Businesses were coming in. There was a vibrance in the city. The movie industry was doing really well. The homeless problem was under control. Crime was not rampant. There was a sense of optimism in Los Angeles 5 years ago. Now a lot of that's gone. It's still my favorite city, although I do honestly spend a lot more time in Newport Beach than I used to, and traveling. So I'm not as just optimistic on Los Angeles as I once was, but it still remains my favorite city.
So what would you say are the main 3 things that cause Los Angeles to go from, the great city that it once was 5 years ago to, in your opinion, still the best city, but much worse now?
Yeah, good question. Pretty simple answer. A lack of crime enforcement, and that's through a myriad of different things. Like they got rid of cash bail. They let criminals. I had my house broken into. I had my car broken into. Those guys get out like a day later. I mean, there's just now we have a new district attorney that is changing things, but let's see how that goes. We also have our lowest number of cops that I think we've had in decades per capita. We have our lowest number of.
Is
cops
that due to the
decades.
defund the police initiative, or is it
Yeah,
due
that
to just like
and just a general difficulty in recruitment because there's been such a negative connotation towards police officers that I think they have a very difficult time. So they have a lot of retirement and they're not replacing them. And we have a huge budget crisis. So we don't have the money to be paying new officers. So yeah, we've been mismanaged. I mean, financially mismanaged. I mean, we have $1 billion deficit, which for a city is massive.
How does the city of Los Angeles have $1 billion deficit when you guys have like the highest taxes across the entire country?
Well, it's because a lot of wealthy people have left. And so LA's answer, unfortunately, to every problem is an additional tax, like the mansion tax. Instead of learning how to solve problems, they just tax more. And the problem is that used to work. For 100 years, that worked. California was able to tax. LA was able to tax and continue to increase taxes because people did not vote with their feet. They couldn't really leave. We were not as mobile as we are now. After COVID, everything changed. Now, so many people are leaving. I've got more clients that have left Los Angeles over just taxes alone in the last 5 years than probably 5 times as many in the last 5 years than my entire career before that combined. And it's a big problem. So you don't get tax revenue. Mansion tax is a perfect example. They thought it was going to raise $1 billion a year. It raised about $300 million a year. So it was not even a third of what they expected, because they assume that nothing's going to change and except for the tax getting paid. That's not what happens. What happens is people leave. Developers are not building in Los Angeles. You don't see any multifamily construction, which kind of is counterintuitive to solving the homeless problem. You don't see any investment. You don't see people hiring plumbers and electricians, and you don't see properties trading. So that creates a economic disincentive and less revenue for the city and the state. So until they can figure out how to solve their problems without just trying to additionally tax, and I'm not philosophically against taxing the wealthy at all, but you can't tax someone $1 and lose $1.50 in economic activity. That just doesn't make sense.
What I find interesting is they have this initiative to try to make it really easy to get expedited permits to add an ADU to a property in Los Angeles. And so guess who sees that and they calculate, I'm going to get a great ROI if I go through this new thing that they just created, because they're finally doing a right thing to solve the homeless crisis, to solve the affordable housing crisis, is none other than the man sitting to the left of me, Graham.
Fuck.
Yeah, you did an ADU?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have done ADUs.
Oh my gosh. It has been a nightmare.
Working with the city, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has been an absolute nightmare. So when I looked at this, I thought the cash-on-cash ROI was incredible. And it is. Going through the city of Los Angeles has been an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Getting the city inspector, they don't want to inspect. It goes straight to voicemail for days. And then on Fridays, when a tenant's supposed to move it on the Monday, they say, "Oh, actually, I'm running late. We're going to cancel this." They don't want to work on the Fridays anymore, and so then they reschedule it, and then they swap inspectors. They get a new inspector who is actually
and he finds other new problems.
Yeah, we need a sewer line CCTV, and you have to schedule it with one of our approved vendors, and the wait on that is 1 to 2 weeks. We already did the work. Here's a CT. No, we need from one of our inspectors. We did this months ago. Oh, you need a new one now.
I did an ADU in one of my houses, and I was getting past final. They sent a new inspector for the same reason, and he measured the tread difference in my spiral staircase, and he measured like 6.5, maybe 7 inches, and it was supposed to be like a max of 6.5. And he told me I have to redo like my $10,000 spiral staircase, and it delayed everything like a month. And then now I've got another client north of Los Angeles. He wants to do get a movie theater permitted, and they're saying that because he's doing work, he's too far away from a fire hydrant, so he has to bring in a fire hydrant. $120,000 to bring in this fire hydrant to do a movie theater. Like, no one's going to do that. Like, there's no discretion, there's no common sense. It's too bureaucratic. When you build a new house now, they are requiring like this drainage system where you collect this water because, I don't know, we need water conservation or something, even though it's just a bucket basically. And it costs like $35,000 to install this. And so, you're trying to build something and an additional $35,000, and then there's several of these requirements. People are like, why? I don't want to build in LA anymore.
Real quick, how many times have you actually panicked because you could not find your wallet? I'm talking full stop, heart drop, where it's complete panic, because I have way too many times, and now there's a wallet that just shows up in your Find My app. Me telling you that it's been a game changer is a complete understatement, because I cannot tell you how many times I've lost my wallet. But with MagBack, I just open Apple's Find My app to play a sound if it's nearby, or just see it on a map.
That's why we're so excited to partner with MagBack. Honestly, we've been waiting to talk about this because they make a smart wallet, and it's one of those products where once you see how it works, you'll just immediately want it.
It carries up to 9 cards while still looking sleek, plus they're made of genuine top-grain leather that gets softer and develops more character the more you carry it.
It also doubles as a phone stand, and it's compatible with QI wireless chargers, so you don't sacrifice your MagSafe capabilities.
In addition to wallets, MagBack offers minimalistic phone cases, multi-chargers, wireless chargers, Tesla chargers, and rim cases and key tags. Funny enough, one of my favorite products is the Tesla-compatible charger. I have it in my Tesla. I absolutely love it. If you have a Tesla, I highly recommend it.
And you could get 15% off of any of these products using the code iced15 when you go to creative creators.magback.com/the-iced-coffee-hour. The link is also down below in the description.
Once again, that is code ICED15 for 15% off at creators.magback.com/icedcoffeehour. Link down below in the description.